Human organs possess extraordinary magical power. A murder has occurred. An ancient pot with human vertebrae and with entrails. The spirit spoke.
You've forgotten your ancestors and you're unprotected in life.
As a rule, he is often, unfortunately, burned alive.
HIV is all I can't bear.
Ritual murders are undoubtedly a terrible thing. Only the living, as they say, indeed talk a lot. We are in the Republic of South Africa. We are going to the Limpopo province to hear the voices of the dead. In this part of South Africa, the Sapadi, Tsonga and Venda tribes live. They are united by a religion called Ngoma. This is a teaching that our entire life is governed by, the spirits of deceased ancestors. These beliefs are many hundreds of years old and have survived to this day. Today we will see this ancient ritual in action. This is the village of Lulekani, far from the big cities, where shamans play a special role. Here they are called Sangoma. The Sangoma shamans can speak with the spirits of deceased ancestors, and therefore they are respected and somewhat feared in the village. In this magical world, everything is done through the mediation of spirits, which means nothing is accidental. If you fall ill or have troubles at work, it means someone is probably casting spells against you. Today is a special weekend. Today the Sangomas will find out who is bringing misfortune to the villagers. Lately, people here have been having strange dreams and no luck in their affairs. There is clearly some interference from the spirits. But who is doing this? The shaman Sangomas must find out. Here are the Sangomas, wearing scarves with the sun symbol. These scarves are in 3 colors: white, black and red. This is not accidental, these are the colors of healing. More on that a little later. And now, the Sangomas are gathering in a circle. In this village, it is mainly women who practice shamanism, although male Sangomas are not uncommon. It might seem like a rural festival, with dancing and celebrations. In reality, this is all very serious. These people genuinely believe that their everyday lives are governed by the spirits of the dead. And not just these people. In fact, throughout South Africa, about 70% of people think this way. Therefore, if they have some ailment, they go not to a doctor, who is also available, but to a shaman Sangoma first. Recently, they surveyed those bandits in prisons who ended up behind bars because they robbed cash in transit vehicles and banks. Almost all of them said that before going on a job, the entire gang goes to the shaman Sangoma. Because what does the Sangoma do? The Sangoma sprinkles the cars that the gang will use for the job. Additionally, he blesses their weapons and gives the bandits various tinctures and amulets. For example, a tincture for invisibility to slip out of the hands of pursuers. And of course, an amulet so that bullets won't harm you. And they completely believe in this. They go under fire and then the police come. They are also curious about what's being prepared, who came. By the way, Sangomas rarely give away their clientele of bandits, but the police don't leave empty-handed. They also take tinctures and elixirs for themselves to enhance their authority, to be braver. In general, the whole country is engulfed in this, and here everything is taken very seriously, without any jokes. Today, the hostess of the celebration is Elizabeth Mahubela. She is a hereditary Sangoma and underwent the initiation ritual back in 1979. Antenna TV.
My maternal grandmother, who was a respected and well-known healer in our community, was also a Sangoma. When my beloved grandmother passed away, the sacred gift of being a Sangoma was passed on to me, but not immediately. I started getting sick and didn't understand what was happening to me. Until I met another Sangoma and she told me that my grandmother was calling me to heal people. And I underwent the initiation ritual. At that time, I was 14 years old.
At that time, South Africa was ruled by whites, and these witchcraft things irritated them terribly. They passed a law against witchcraft. By the way, it hasn't been repealed to this day. According to this law, anyone practicing magic could be imprisoned. And yet, it didn't stop anyone.
The spirit will guess why you have come. You won't even have time to open your mouth, and it will already know everything, whether your child is sick, you're looking for a job, or you've lost a loved one. And when you confirm that this is indeed the problem, the spirit will look for ways to help you.
This greatly complicates life for doctors trained in the Western tradition, because a patient comes to them and the doctor asks, "What is bothering you?" But the patient doesn't understand right away. It's you, the doctor, who should tell me what's bothering me. But Elizabeth is a real doctor, a true Sangoma. She has a certificate hanging on her wall, without which one cannot provide shamanic services. And on this certificate, it is written in large letters, "Down with ritual killings, and together towards prosperity." Now, ritual killings are a terrible thing. No kidding, it's truly horrifying, because there are such rogue Sangomas who believe that human organs, taken from a person while alive, possess extraordinary magical power. And in South Africa, as we know, 70% of the population believes in this magic. And it begins. They bring some relatives to the Sangomas, they bring their girls, they kidnap children from playgrounds, teenagers, dozens and hundreds of such cases have already been described. Then they go to the nearest house where Sangomas practice. And what do they find there? A pot with human vertebrae, with entrails, or a skull, which is entirely covered with some beads, beadwork or something. Inside the skull there are some magical items. It's difficult. The court, after reviewing the evidence, concludes that there is insufficient evidence and releases the Sangoma. But the matter doesn't end there, because the enraged villagers gather together, go to the Sangoma's house and deal with him. Usually they burn him alive. So it's a terrible problem, these ritual murders. It's no joke. The drums do not cease. Everyday life goes on as usual. Mothers with babies. Someone is being washed in a plastic tub. Here, adults are passing around a plastic bucket with homemade beer. In general, everything is going smoothly. And suddenly, right before our eyes, a young Sangoma, sitting on the ground, begins to fall into a trance. That is, she is directly possessed by a spirit. Even to us, the uninitiated, it is clear. But for some reason, the locals don't pay much attention to it, as if it happens every day.
When the spirit enters the body, it feels like a blow. The Sangoma starts to shake as the spirit takes over the body.
Each shaman, each Sangoma, has their own way of entering a trance. Some need to drink beer or smoke a special mixture for this, but there are also those who leave their own body just with a clap of the hand. There are many different methods, but the common factor among them is that drums must be played. Recently, there was a truly scientific study on how drums affect the human brain. The beating of drums, spinning in place and reciting prayers deactivate the areas of the human brain responsible for spatial orientation. This means that a person kind of loses the boundaries of their own self and it dissolves into the universe.
The instrument is key. The word Sangoma comes from the Zulu, which Ngoma, which is a drum. And the sound of the drum calls the ancestors to come into the body. So what really happens is the ego of the person stands aside, and then the spirit of the ancestor or the guide comes into the body and takes over completely. So often they speak in tongues.
This is David Coombs. He is a white Sangoma, a rare case, but not the only one in the world. David received his medical education in Johannesburg and then joined the Sangomas of South Africa. They accepted him into their circle, taught him the secret art, and David underwent initiation. Since there are no written treatises or canons here, David is one of the few people in the West who is knowledgeable about the rituals of South African shamans. Today he lives in California.
In terms of African spirituality, there are three ways of diagnosis. You can diagnose through possession, which is very labor intensive, as you saw. It requires a village, with drumming and dancing and other people. There's sort of a coherence. It's very intensely, it's not something you can do in 5-10 minutes or an hour. It takes several hours. Or you can do it through the divination bones, which is another way of diagnosing. My teacher used to say the bones are the big boss, they're the big thing. And the third way they diagnose is with dreams.
It may seem strange that people who use smartphones and then go to work and connect with clients over the internet still believe in the spirits of the dead, just as they did 1,000 years ago. You have the latest achievements of technocratic civilization in your hands, and yet you're connecting with spirits.
If I left problem, if I do something bad to me, I go to the Sangomas and talk him. I can ask him what happened with me. I'm dreaming this and this and this and this and this. So they are going to tell me. They are telling me what happened. Maybe there's someone is coming to me or she's coming to me to tell me the bad thing. Maybe she don't want me. She wants me to do something. If I'm going to work, she don't want me to work. She's jealousy to me or he's jealousy to me. So that's why I go to the Sangomas. The Sangomas help me with the medicine. I use the medicine for this Sangoma. This is my Sangoma. I use this medicine.
Thank you very much. Can we have your name, please?
My name is Asnath Tombeni.
Asnath Tombeni.
I'm from South Africa, Palabura,
Okay.
Lulekani.
All right, thank you.
Wow, wow.
Lovely. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I think there's no contradiction in this because all these complex devices, gadgets, are invented in our three-dimensional world. And to the grandfather, his spirit, which resides somewhere in the fourth dimension, they don't matter at all. And so, well, yes, we take your smartphones, we use them, but it doesn't affect our faith in any way. The young Sangoma comes out of the trance, the spirit leaves her. Judging by the lack of interest from those present in her contact with the ancestral world, it wasn't the main speaker who came to her. The main one is yet to come. It's getting hot. Lunch break. The spirits are nearby, but apparently they are waiting for people to make offerings. Without this, nothing works. Rice with meat has already been prepared in the cauldrons, and now it is being distributed to the villagers. The participants of the event are partaking in the beer. Today, it's not just beer, but part of a magical ritual.
African beer is made out of the marula tree, out of the fruit of a marula tree. It's very nice and it's very ancestral. So often if you do a ritual to the ancestors, you drink beer and you make an offering, usually of a sacrifice, a chicken or a goat. And when you drink the beer, you always pour some beer out for the ancestor. Everything is give and take. It's all about, they give you information, you love them, you show gratitude. You just don't take it for granted. If you don't show gratitude and there's not a give and take, they will check out, they will leave. It's like any relationship. The ancestor that comes through can now experience sensation because they are feeling what it's like to be in a human body again. So they might ask for a cigarette, they might ask for beer, they might ask for water. I knew a Sangoma who said his ancestor liked marijuana. So he smoked marijuana. I think it might have been an excuse.
I wonder if the black government of South Africa believes that Sangomas have secret power over it. The fact is, the law introduced by the whites on counteracting witchcraft is still in effect. And in the 11th year, 500 Sangoma shamans held a demonstration in the capital and demanded that the president finally repeal this law. Otherwise, they threatened that the president would not win the elections and would not be re-elected for a second term. And he did win the elections and was re-elected. However, he couldn't complete this term because he was ousted by his own supporters. So, everything here is ambiguous. You can choose to believe it or not.
Mainly, these divination bones, which belonged to my grandmother. I found a few myself and added them to these. I help those who come with Vadim, the shaman's illness, when the spirits call you. If someone has trouble sleeping or experiences visions, such people also come to me, and I cast the bones to get an answer. The spirits help with everything. I just connect with them.
The bones are usually animal bones or shells. Shells represent the ocean and the spirit world in the ocean and the water spirit. The animal bones are hyena bones, antelope bones, wild pig bones, lion bones, elephant bones, each of which has its own energy. For instance, the hyena bone is the thief that comes in the night. So if you're looking for a stolen object or a lost child or something, you look to the hyena bone. The hyena bone has three polarities, excellent, in limbo, and not good. And then if it's related to another bone, it will talk to the other bone as well. Each one, like the baboon is the trickster, like in Native American, the coyote is the trickster. So if you're looking for the trickster or witchcraft or something like that, you look to the baboon bone. And the reality is that if you can get bones from your ancestors, obviously it's going to be more powerful.
We are sitting in a special healing hut. It is called an indumba. And Sangomas believe that the spirits of the ancestors reside here. Here there are scarves of three colors, white, black, and red. These are also the colors of the medicines. If the treatment is complex, first the black medicine is used. It harnesses the powers of the night, the powers of darkness. Then the red one, it symbolizes change. And finally, the white one, to secure the positive result. It's like in Russian fairy tales, there is living water and there is dead water. If the hero dies, his wounds must first be treated with dead water, and only then can he be revived with living water, otherwise it won't work. Here, it's the same sequence.
HIV is the only thing I can't handle, or when someone has cuts or fractures. But everything else, I can cure. Things like cancer or stroke, mental disorders, commonly referred to as madness. Here is a potion for soldiers who want to become invulnerable. If an enemy approaches, you will turn into stone or an insect, and the enemy will not notice you and will pass by, and you will not be harmed.
Is it really made from a chameleon?
The part of the chameleon used here is only the tail. The chameleon is not killed. Only the tail is cut off, ground up, mixed with crushed beetles, and it's ready. And this is a medicine for people with mental disorders.
What's it made of?
It is made from the bark of the gukuka tree. And this is for back pain.
Should it be rubbed in?
It should be drunk. And this remedy is for big problems. If the police have arrested you, this is the sure remedy to gain freedom.
Does the police officer need to drink it too?
This is not for the police. It's for the detainees. And this is for the police. It adds courage and instills fear in those around. Now, when you appear, people will think, "Oh, the police! They're coming to arrest us." There are also remedies for career advancement. People come and say, "I need to get this position as a manager, supervisor, and so on." And I give them this little bottle.
But I'm not sure about the last remedy. In general, doctors and scientists are studying what exactly Sangomas give to their protégés, and they have found that about 3,000 plants are used in these shamanic remedies. Out of these, the 300 plants have psychoactive effects. Some remedies given by Sangomas, some plants, are already widely used around the world. For example, there's a remedy based on aloe or devil's claw, which is used in the treatment of arthritis. But now the break is over, and it's time to summon the spirits again. Now, an experienced Sangoma takes charge. A circle of initiates gathers around her. In the Sangoma's hand is an omashobo, a tail on a stick, a container for the spirit. And around her neck is a special necklace, protection against evil spirits. Asnat translates what the ceremony participants are saying.
The sun is so hot. So much warmth. The spirit has spoken. Now it wants beer. It needs to drink. She behaves indeed like a man, and dances like a man. Her voice, which was once distinctly feminine, has now changed. It has taken on the deep, resonant qualities typical of... This is her Kaioki speaking. Chauki is a grandfather. He is asking where grandmother is. Grandmother is nearby. There she is sitting.
The spirit of her grandfather came to the Sangoma from the world of the dead. He is the one she was calling upon. To make it easier for the spirit to descend to earth, the Sangoma put on a scarf and hat that once belonged to the grandfather.
It's a container, and it's also a sign of respect. It makes it easier for the spirit to come through and be comfortable. Love is the juice that crosses the veil between the worlds. So if it's much easier for them if you show attention, you show care, you show love, then they come, oh, he's wearing my hat. That's really nice, and he's got my scarf on. And it makes it much easier for them. But the medications, the mutis, the medicines that are used in ritual, are also containers for them to come.
Now that sacrifices have been made to the spirits and everyone is listening attentively, the spirit is ready to say the most important thing. He must reveal to the villagers how they can rid themselves of the curse hanging over them.
He says, now I can reveal everything to you. I don't like what I see. People know nothing. There is a secret in the village. There are more secrets than you know. A tragic murder has indeed occurred in our quiet village. A person was killed here in this peaceful community. You definitely need to find out who killed him. You must go on a quest. Grandfather, see, we are here. There are many of us here. We are relatives, but in our hearts, we are not kin.
This is the answer for the whole village.
I don't want to say too much. Only the living, as they say, talk a lot.
How can someone be killed unnoticed in a small village so that no one suspects anything? What does the spirit tell us? The spirit tells us things that can have far-reaching consequences. In the village, someone could have suddenly died, and this death was considered natural, but the spirit believes it was murder. And the murder was carried out by magical means. That is, someone, for example, took soil from the cemetery, cast a spell, and the person was gone. Now the villagers will have to investigate who it was, who the culprit is. And if they don't do this, the consequences for them will be severe. The spirit leaves the Sangoma. She gradually comes to her senses. They help her catch her breath. She will sit on the ground without strength for another half an hour. Trance. Ancestors.
The only way for him to justify himself in the eyes of others, especially those who doubted his intentions or actions, would be to seek the counsel and validation of another Sangoma, a respected traditional healer and spiritual guide. This Sangoma could then provide an authoritative statement or testimony, affirming that he was, indeed, slandered and wrongfully accused, thus clearing his name and restoring his reputation. She would remind him it was like this, the message was such.
Does a person undergo some kind of transformation when he's possessed?
Yeah, it's usually the case. You know, the one woman I remember, she looked very different when she was possessed, completely different. And then when she, because I only saw her when she was possessed, and then when she was not possessed, she would look completely different. She had a soft, lovely face. You know, she wasn't like powerful and demanding. And she went and lay under a tree to take a nap. You know, and then I went and chatted to her, and she was completely spent. And this is what's the problem, because it's very, very energy depleting.
For searches, they are unlikely to hire a private detective. Usually, such investigations are conducted by Sangomas themselves, communicating with the spirit world. What the Sangoma says is final and cannot be appealed. If the Sangoma says that a neighbor magically orchestrated the murder, that neighbor's life will be ruined. The only way for him to clear his name would be to go to another Sangoma, to say that he was falsely accused, also in a magical way. Then those who were slandered, to clear their names, would have to go to the Sangoma again, creating an endless cycle of visits, each accompanied by a payment. As we have seen, a decent service market has emerged out of nowhere. That's if we consider it from an outsider's perspective. But why should we consider it from an outsider's perspective? How are we any different? In general, we're not different. We are the ones who, at the first opportunity, go to healers or fortune tellers to have something predicted. We seek answers in tarot cards. We are modern people with smartphones, all this technology. We are the same. We are no different. We have magical thinking and a magical world. In this magical world, everything is controlled by world governments, by some Masonic lodges, God knows what, aliens. It doesn't matter. Nothing is accidental. There is only some magical center of decision-making. Yes, it's the same thing. We are exactly the same. Only our beads are glass, made from different glass. And the music isn't as interesting.
And I remember my mentor saying to me when I first arrived, he said, the trouble with you Westerners, you white people, you've forgotten your ancestors and you're unprotected in life. You're like papers blowing in the wind. So it's really important to connect with the ones, and you don't want the skeletons in your closet, but you have to ask to receive, and it's really important to connect with your ancestors if you want that support. They can save your life.
On that day in Lolekana, the initiation of new Sangoma shamans was also planned. It usually happens like this. A goat is slaughtered on over the head of the initiate. Its blood flows onto the person's head and they must lick it off. Then he washes it all down with an herbal concoction and vomits the contents onto the ground, after which the bladder of the slaughtered goat is hidden somewhere and The initiate must find it using clues from the ancestors. Then this dried bladder is tied to his head at the back, and it will accompany him in further rituals. I'm not sure you would want to see all of this, and we wouldn't be able to show it to you anyway, because over time in Lolekan we somehow became accepted as one of their own. And at one point a girl approached our cameraman trying to lure him into her quarters to discuss some intriguing matters. Moreover, on the site the women got into some kind of scuffle trying to determine whose guests we actually were. And at that moment a miracle happened. The spirits appeared to our entire film crew at once and told us it was time to know our place. And without any prior agreement, we got into the cars and left. As much as we wanted to see what happened next, who are we to argue with the spirits?